Ladies and gentlemen of planet Earth, I hope you have leveled up, because this is some next level shit we are facing. And I'm sorry for cussing at the beginning of this video, but this is down to the brass tacks time. It's time for us all to harden our backbone, straighten our resolve, and get ready to work together as a team to meet all these new level challenges we are facing. I'm talking to you about a storm that is going to begin in the middle of America tomorrow, and then it will move east off the coast Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And then we have our next storm coming in. And this thing has a gigantic expanding wind field that will create at the center anywhere from 39 to 50 foot possible waves that will bring high astronomical tide waves to the shores of the entire East Coast. And that this thing is set to churn in rounds for a few days, which is going to cause some very choppy waters. It's going to cause some big waves. So on top of the sleet, the rain, the ice, the snow, the wind we're going to see, my biggest concern is coastal flooding, storm surge, because like I pointed out, these are wind gusts, but still, if we see like a standard and a half deviation away from this, we will get some pretty big waves along the coast. So we need to be prepared for the worst case scenario. Don't be scared. If we all work together, we can accomplish anything. And on the coast, you still have about anywhere from 48 to 72 hours to prepare. I would either recommend checking your local area and the type of flood situation that you might face. Some areas are definitely always more prone than others to flooding. And I'm going to remind you that in this, technically what I'm calling it the worst flooding in American history, it's a long ongoing process. It will go into March, as March comes in with a lion's roar. Right now we have 226 rivers flooding, and the Mississippi and Ohio Valley down into Texas, all the way up into Michigan, Illinois. And we've seen some major flooding. And we've seen universities underwater. I think Cleveland downtown is underwater. And the Weather Channel is naming the storm Quinn, which is like Harley Quinn from Batman. And the last time we had a Batman villain, it was Harvey for Houston, my city. So people need to take this flooding seriously, because these areas are going to go see a lot more rain starting tomorrow. And so 226 already flooding, and you have right now 191 gauges near flood stage. And what we're dealing with is double precipitation penetration on both coasts, the west and the east. So, I mean, right now there's even one river flooding in California, as one in Colorado, and this is what has me worried. And then when we have the storm this weekend, the elongated one, we're going to see this light up like Cowboy Bob walked into this map with two AR-15 paintball guns and shot up the joint. So this is already a serious situation, and it's only going to get more serious. I highly recommend that in a time where our government has turned absolute inefficiency into the most profitable thing for them, it's best to almost even pretend like your government isn't there. So you're going to have to relearn how to communicate and work with your neighbors, the people on your street, the people in your community, on what could be a very challenging month ahead for not only central United States of America, all the way out east but it looks like the west coast is going to be getting hit with some atmospheric rivers as well. And this whole storm and the system and the next ones we will see are very anomalous. They're kind of like other stuff. They're kind of new, and they keep changing so fast in the dynamics. It's best to be prepared for all possibilities. So this is Wednesday, and as you can see, Wednesday, I'll try and keep in mind. So that's the area. It's like pretty much from there to there. So we're going to see a lot of rain along the west coast and then up in the exact same areas as this wave after wave after wave after wave storm pattern continues and continues to increase in severity. So technically the storm starts on Wednesday and begins to move in. And this thing is pulling moisture in from Pacific Northwest, the South Pacific, and then also the Gulf. So by the time the storms get to the middle, they're very moist and juicy and can cause a lot of problems. Water is fantastic, but too much of it is a problem. Wind is fantastic, but too much of it is a problem. So we're seeing some heavy bands. If you notice, we're seeing some pretty heavy bands now on this 18Z model run of the GFS. This isn't a forecast, but it's damn near close, bro. And ma'am. So we're seeing some heavy chunks of precipitation. And that one other thing to remember is that at the same time, it's in this battle of fire and ice, it's the freezing versus like the hot tropical. You go from like 50, it's going to be here, 60 degrees over to 31 degrees from only like 200 miles away. And so this is going to be the hotter, warmer Atlantic Ocean air that's going to be fighting with the, what is it now, the split polar vortex. They're going to be battling it out, and the battleground will be where the weather, severe weather is. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sleet tornadoes. And we'll definitely see some tornadoes over the next few days along the boundary lines, in my opinion. But so, and I think these models aren't good at skewing the variables that go along with the frozen ground and ice, and so they catch up a little slow. So I would think we could see freeze almost up to the coast. And so as soon as you get a ton of rain, you're going to get the frozen ice cold coming in to freeze it over, turning giant parking lots into popsicles. So we got a lot of things to deal with. Technically, in like an asteroid fight club sense, this is definitely like a space duck of doom, come to challenge and test Earthlings to see how well prepared we are to deal with this stuff. Because, like I said, the polar vortex split, which is pretty rare. I don't even know if it's happened before. So you get something like this. And the blue is basically bad, severe weather. And so that's a big chunk of bad, severe weather. So this is something that America and Europe are going through together. They're getting hit with a ton of snow and what they're calling the beast from the east, a ton of cold. So we're all having to meet these challenges together as one Earth family. I mean, it's wild. I'll go back to, I'll show you, this is from the 3rd, but we're going back to today, 27th, to show you how tightly wound. We're all under a lot of pressure. You know, Earth has been, a lot of great songs and haven't come out lately, and not a lot of great movies, and people aren't laughing as much. So we're all stressed out. We're all under pressure. And so Earth's under pressure, the sun's under pressure. So we all need to relearn how to find the humor in things and find the art and the balance in all this energy that is coming into planet Earth from the sun or outside sources. It almost looks like a quasar or pulsar. And it's got 3 buddies. And look, 3 down here too. Or, you know, whatever. So, where are we at? Oh yeah. So we are just still going through the storm. So yeah, we got a lot of flooding through here. And then, notice how it continues to move out. This is Friday. Like, let's take one place like, let's say New York right there. So they pretty much they start to get rain around 0Z Friday. So technically they're not out of the precipitation zone until Saturday 18Z. What is that like? So it's like almost 40 hours of rain or snow or sleet. And on top of that, they're going to be getting the choppy waves. So we're talking a whole lot of rain, a whole lot of consistent precipitation. And then after that, right on its heels, another storm is coming. Like 3 days later. And notice how both coasts are going to get it. And then it expands and explodes in the middle. And so it's going to be the same areas. So right now, this is something Americans as a community should be focused on. 100%. I guarantee if this isn't going to affect you in the next week, it will in the very near future. We're all connected. We're all one American family. And so this is like the universe and even God calling us to respond to these challenges together. United we stand, or divided we fall and drown. So I will be here with you, giving you the updates that I can. I highly recommend following me on Twitter. Because during storm parts, I'm at New Thor. Because during the storm portions, Twitter is definitely the best place for live updates. This is from Eric Fisher. And shout out to Weather Twitter. They were fantastic to the worst hurricane season in modern record in America. So they were fantastic and work as a team. So I highly recommend Twitter if you're anywhere 24 hours out from the storm and need important up-to-the-minute updates. I'll try and come up with a list of the best people to follow in the near future. This is Eric Fisher. To me, the highest impact zone remains the coast. Very high astro tides, full moon, multiple cycles, water and wave action building up. Could be quite destructive if even just the middle ground scenario pans out. So we're talking about damaging winds, coastal flooding, storm surge, where it's like the ocean, the land becomes part of the ocean for a while. Sometimes it never returns. And rough seas, significant erosion. On top of a lot of rain, snow, sleet, or ice coming, and then the freeze will complicate things. And I want to remind you that the theory at THORNEWS, when I first noticed the sun was acting different than I think she was supposed to, that when the sun acts weird and strange, people act weird and strange, and the earth weather acts weird and strange. And we all, we don't know what to do with this energy, or channel it well. People are too busy arguing, fighting about negative stuff instead of humanity putting all this energy into a positive direction. So we're kind of almost creating our own double negative vortex by doggy paddling and around, yelling at each other in like an echo chamber. But that's for a different video. But I'm saying this is the sun from today or yesterday, I believe. And so the solar halo around it that's about as magnificent as I've seen it lately. And the sun and the auroras have been putting on a show. You can just check the sun and the sky with your own eyes if you want to. And as I was saying, this is for the 11th. And this is some next level shit, man. This is rain band. That's all rain. This one doesn't have the ice in it. The snow. So, I mean, you're pretty much covering 40% of the entire United States in a cloud. And this is what, 12 days from now? And it's almost a giant moisture bridge connecting all the way into Europe, Spain, Ireland. So, we can either adapt to this together or slowly fall apart. Although not that slowly. This is, I believe, in England, and they're having to close some highways because the blizzard there is so bad, which they've nicknamed the Beast from the East. There's a man catching a 50-foot catfish in his front yard in Kentucky, because like I said, Kentucky, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, a lot of states are undergoing some pretty serious flooding. And when we watch, I don't know if, well, let me go to this one then. The expanding, what is blowing my mind is the field here. The precipitation field. I think this is the Bermuda High, Azores High that goes around it. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay, so yes, we will go over here for a moment. Usually I tell more jokes, but this is a very serious situation, so I'm trying to rise to the occasion. And hopefully you will do it with me as well. Put aside your political, I challenge you, put aside your political disagreements with your fellow Americans for 1 week to watch, observe, and try and figure out how we can react to the storm before it gets here, and then you react to the next 7 storms that are probably coming over the next 2 weeks. 5 to 7 storms will be rolling through the United States in the next 2 weeks. So I challenge you to put aside the political stuff that isn't helping anyone right now and put your mind to figuring out how we can work together to meet these challenges, because these are going to be, a week from now will look much different than the situation now. So watch on that storm right here. So the storm pushes through, but notice here how there's your big storm. And then notice how this here just continues to expand once it gets over water. Tighten, and notice how it kind of rotates. And so it's still there. This is Sunday. And so it's been rotating out in the Atlantic counterclockwise for a while. And that's another reason that the storm is going to be bad, because it will be rotating counterclockwise and then pushing all that moisture, waves, flooding onto the ocean. Onto the shore. So it's definitely this whole, this is very, like I said, anomalous. And notice how this is the next storm. And so this storm is literally only like 100, 200 miles off the coast. And the next storm is almost there. So when I was saying, what if the precipitation, what if this actually stretches back? It's kind of like this thing stretching back. Well, I don't think we know what it's doing now. So the computer models and the humans are all taking guesses. When that thing hooks up, let me show you again. So there, like, when we get to this phase, what if this continues to stretch backwards? That could cause some major problems. So, there's a lot of information I put out there for you. But hey, that's why you've been coming and training with me for 5 years, right? We were born for these days. And no, this is not the end, because the end has no end. This is now. So, we need to stop acting like this is the 1970s. Well, actually, there's no year like 2018. I've never seen it where everyone dedicates almost all of their energy to arguing about politics. We're getting nothing done at a time where whether we survive as a country depends on us relearning to find common ground and work together to survive and then thrive. And I know we can do it. The media and the internet are under an invisible thumb that will only allow negative, technically anti-human stories to prosper. Divide and conquer the people while breaking their spirit. Well, it's time to remember a decade ago when life was not as horrible, when we did not hate each other as much. Snap out of it, heal fast, and get ready to kick ass. So, I will keep you guys posted. It's actually way longer than I want to talk, but like I said, it's a very real situation that we are all dealing with together. So, I want to say God bless everyone. Thank you very much for caring this much to stay with me. And I would like to remind you that THORNEWS is a publicly funded YouTube channel and entire news station. And so I do appreciate any donations. I will leave my PayPal link in the information box and a P.O. box if anyone wants to thank me. I'd appreciate it because you guys keep me going. Like, I'll try and have a video out later where I cut together all the video clips of the forecasters, broadcasters, and all the situations that are going on in a lot of places. But every time I do that, it takes a whole lot out of me because a lot of this information is hard to take at times. I mean, constantly. And so we're about to go through a really active stretch. And I'm going to be working my butt off, hopefully, keeping you guys informed over the next week. So, hang in there. It's always darkest, I guess wet too, before the dawn. And the sun is rising, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let other people's doubt define your faith. At no point did God or Jesus Christ ever tell us to just give up and wait for the end. That is not what great men and women do. So, peace out. Talk to y'all soon. Stay cool.